Ruth Ruthy Mthabine was born and raised in the small village of Hluvukani in Bushbuckridge in Limpopo. At an early stage, she gave and committed her life to Christ and haven't looked back since. She's the founding director for Masigide Consulting, which is a company that provides business advisory and mentorship in SMMEs in rural areas. Through music, she found comfort and healing and currently has a new EP out titled Rooted. She joins us now this morning to share a bit more on her music career. Ruth, a very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Morning, and thanks for having me.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure, Ruth. You are known as a businesswoman and a community leader, also a transition to a great gospel artist. Please share with us what really inspired this particular transition.
Okay, so my own personal journey has inspired me to go into music. And I've been through a lot of unfortunate events in my life, but I also thought it would be appropriate for me to share how God pulled me out and how God restored me and gave me hope again. So I want to share. I don't want to keep it to myself, but I thought I could share it through music.
Okay. And what can the public expect out of your music as Ruth Mthabine, the gospel artist?
So as I've indicated, my music is about bringing hope and healing to those who are going through a difficult time. You'll agree with me, these current economic conditions and what we've gone through as the entire world globally. I still believe that people could find hope and encouragement and strength during this season.
Do you write your own music?
Yes, I do, but I also look at some of the songs that are in the public domain that are relevant to what I believe in and also relevant to other people's situations.
I mean, what really inspires your music? Is it, when you write your music, is it inspired by certain events that you've been a witness of, or is it simply something that happens around you?
What inspires my music is more, like I said, it's about hope. I lost my job. I had to start a business from scratch. For me to do that, I needed to dig deep inside of me to find strength and courage to do that. My son passed on in 2017, and I know there's a lot of women or people out there, more especially now, that have gone through loss. They've lost their loved ones. And I thought it's very, very relevant that spiritually I let people connect to my music. And my music of hope and encouragement and healing.
Do share your visions and your goals and aspirations. What's the vision for Ruth Mthabine as a gospel artist?
I think my vision is to grow in the music industry, but also make sure that even the people in the lowest ground get to have access to encouraging messages. People may not be able to attend to bigger events, considering what we're going through. But I know that people love listening to music, and I would like to portray or convey my message of hope through music.
And what has been the greatest pleasure of working on your own music?
Look, it's very fulfilling. It's me sharing my personal experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything, sharing what I've gone through. And I know a lot of people can relate because it's real. It's it's got the real emotions on it.
And those who haven't really heard your music, how would you classify it under? Is it worship, or is it praise, or is it a bit of both?
It's a bit of both, but it's leaning more into worship.
Okay, why really worship?
Look, I'm a very emotional person.
Okay.
And given what I've gone through, and worship allows me to really connect to God. And I feel that other people can relate as well. But also I love the quietness around it.
And since you are, a businesswoman in your own right, where do you find the time to focus on your music and give it the attention it requires and deserves?
I think I've got a great team. But also I've developed the business in such a way that I've got people that I work with. I don't just carry everything alone, but I've been intentional about my growth. I create a lot of time. I make time to write my music, more especially at night and around very early in the morning. So I'm really intentional about it. I make time to create that balance.
Okay. Now, Ruth, we are heading to the December festive season where we spend time with our families and friends and loved ones. Also being a season where we are against women and child abuse. So what words of encouragement do you have?
I think the festive season is a season of love and thanksgiving. And I just want to encourage people that let's go back, let's go love each other and support each other. But from a gender-based point of view, gender-based violence point of view, is that it's so sad that we've come this far as a country where women and children are really not protected by the very same people that they love. And I just want to say that if possible, if you feel that you're in trouble or you're not in a good space as a man, seek help. And for all the women that have been through any form of abuse and children, I just want to encourage them that they didn't call it upon themselves. And God has got it all worked out. May they find hope and strength through this very difficult time.
So, Ruth, who do you look up to in this industry? Who really inspires you? Who's your role model?
Oh, that's a good question. So there's quite a lot. I always say one of my favorite artists is Taki, but there's a whole lot of them. I love Lewu. We're from the same church. She's amazing, and I really look up to her.
So what is it that you've learned from those that you look up to?
I think they've been very consistent in terms of them portraying their messages. But I also love the purity, the cleanness around the music. They stand for what they believe. And for Lewu as well, I feel like she's very real. And whatever she portrays is what I stand for as well.
And speaking of consistency, what do you make of some gospel artists who change genres from gospel to secular music, as it were, and perhaps some bounce back to gospel?
I think it's up to an individual. It's a very, very personal decision. Some, they come into gospel space for whatever reasons. But I think for me, it's the emotions that goes into it, how you deliver the message. I wouldn't speak about something that I don't know, something that I haven't experienced. So I've seen now people commercialize and just sing for the sake of it's December, let's throw in a gospel album. But for me, it's more than just that.
You speak of emotions when delivering your music, isn't it? And I've often wondered why gospel artists do it for commercial purposes and not necessarily to preach the word.
I think it's because they are aware that people are searching for something out there. I mean, we're all emotional beings. It doesn't matter. There's a point where you just want to connect with something spiritual. You just want to connect to your maker. So everybody knows about that. And music allows people to connect. It gives you that connection. So I think all the artists that sing different genres of music, and they'll always bounce back. They'll always want to come and allow people to connect into that space. So this is the common thing that we all have as individuals.
So in the medium term, where do you see yourself in 5 years, perhaps? More albums, more singles, performances, tours around the country. Where do you see yourself?
I definitely see myself as growing, making an impact in the industry. Obviously, I'm bringing the unique me. And I'm bringing the message of hope. And as where we're going as a country at the moment, I foresee us needing more of that, where we don't just sing for the sake of singing. So I just want to also remain relevant to what's happening from a spiritual and music point of view. Allow people to connect and allow people to connect with God in a more spiritual way. So I'm seeing myself as growing, making an impact, but also collaborating with other big artists as well.
And speaking of growth, how have you grown since you've started out as an artist?
Look, I've grown in leap and bounds. It's not really that slow, but looking at the current economic conditions, but also looking at the moment where we're in as well. I've seen people embracing my music, and I've realized that people want more, not just from me only, but from others as well.
Okay, so how do we connect with you? Where and how do we get hold of your music?
Okay, I'm available on Facebook as Ruthy, on Twitter as Mthabine.
Mthabine. Okay, great chatting to you, Ruth. Thank you so much and all the best in your music.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, it's an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, we just spoke to businesswoman, philanthropist and gospel artist Ruth Mthabine on her EP